Where was I? Right. So this last week I decided to go on a little road trip in the Prius to waste some time before my appointment for my second vaccine and to save some gas before hitting the road again full time in the van. My first 2 days of the trip were hot, unplanned, and chaotic. I spent a night on the Kern River, drove 3 hours out of the way to spend a few hours at Shaver Lake, and I discovered a surprisingly cool campsite right outside of Fresno. I covered all of that stuff in my last video, part 1 of the Prius trip. My third and fourth days on this trip were a lot more mellow, apart from an intruder on the third night. I don't think I'm alone. So without any further ado, let's start where we ended last, on Millerton Lake right outside of Fresno. Good morning. Say good morning. Stinky breath. Last night, after I stopped filming my last video, I went to In-N-Out and I got myself a dinner because I felt like I deserved it, and it was really good. Good morning, Finny. Do you want to come with me to do the dishes? This morning I realized I hadn't checked the oil since I got the car from my mom's house, which is really dumb because this car has a history of burning oil or leaking oil. And after a quick glance, it was easy to determine that we definitely need more oil. Oh gosh, this is such a bad idea. Hopefully this will work. I'm not sure why I feel so confident right now. I probably shouldn't feel this confident after being that low on oil, but alas, here we are. Today I'm gonna go to Oakhurst, which is right outside of Yosemite Valley. I didn't bring my National Parks pass, so I'm not gonna go to the national park, which is totally fine because this little one isn't allowed anyway, so yeah, that's it. It's like 2 o'clock right now and I just pulled into my new site for the night. I'm on Bass Lake, which is amazing because I don't know why it's awesome. It's just really great here. It's the perfect temperature. This campground that I chose to pull into is right next to like a little restaurant thing that I think I'll probably get dinner at tonight. It's actually so weird. I don't know what's going on this trip, but I'm actually treating it like a trip and I think it's doing me well. I think when I kind of let van life become a lifestyle, it kind of just changed the way that I acted on the road, and I don't think that I've been touristy enough. I've been very, very frugal. I didn't have an income for a very long time, and because of it, I wasn't allowing myself the simple pleasures of like going out to eat every once in a while or getting a campsite just because it's on a lake. I'm seeing a lot of possibility right now, and it's making me really happy. I don't know, for some reason I'm so happy right now. I'm just spending the afternoon here reading. This book has me sucked in. I can't escape. But this rain is cool and unexpected. I just want it to pour, like really hard for like 5 minutes. That's all I want from the universe right now. But a storm never came, the sky instead opening up and filling the world with color. This whole evening felt like a dream. This book, Where the Crawdads Sing, it really does have me effed up. I will not lie. I'm like very much in the trance. I almost chose to miss sunset and then thought that I would really regret it, and so I'm here for sunset, but I really, really want to be reading. It reminds me very much of my favorite book ever, which is called The Alchemist. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Nope, it's called The Name of the Wind. This book also reminds me of that book that I loved when I was a kid, of that one kid who lived in a tree and had pet Fallon? Hawk Fallon. It's called My Side of the Mountain. These also all have the same vibe as The Boxcar Children, which is a series that made me into a reader rabbit in the first place. I'm so happy. Like, why am I this happy right now? I don't know what's wrong with me. The last couple of weeks, I've just been wrecked. I don't know why. I can't really tell you exactly why. So maybe I just needed a vacation. Maybe I just needed a slap in the face. Maybe I needed to hurt for a couple of weeks so that I could come back and have more perspective. The one thing that's remained true my entire van life experience is perspective. Like, gaining perspective. That is the one thing that living in a van, I guarantee if anybody lives in a van, you will gain perspective on your country, on the people that you live around. You really gain perspective on life and boredom and retirement. That's actually a really interesting point. You gain perspective living in a van for a long period of time on what like being retired would feel like. It's actually made me realize that whatever career that I choose, I don't want to choose a career that I would have to retire from. I don't want to be working all day, 5 days a week for 30 years for a job that I don't even like to get to a place that I think is going to be a step up from normal life just to get there and then be disappointed. I really think that taking this time off has made me realize that I want to fill my time, my entire life, with things that I think most people only get to do during retirement. Like, I don't know, living where you want to live and being who you want to be and having the coffee shops and the farmers markets and the gardens and the simple things. Like, I want to have that before I retire. I don't know what I want to be, but I know that I don't want to be an accountant. And I think that's why I've been so weird about the whole college thing, because I'm like, well, I applied for a major that I don't even want to be anymore. I think getting an education is important, but I also think that I don't need to overly stress myself getting there. I know I'm going to go back to college. I've never been more sure of anything in my entire life. I love being in college. I love the feeling of accomplishment that comes after a semester of well-earned grades. Like, I love working hard, and I love having professors who validate me, you know, like getting good grades is a source of validation. I don't know what this rambling mess was, but I'm gonna go try to see if the place has firewood now before they close. So it was nice chatting. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Just kidding, I'll talk to you in like an hour. Goodbye. So the store closed at 7, so no fire tonight, but instead I have this wonderful fiery sunset that is basically gone, so I'm pointing at clouds. Also, I'm having leftovers for dinner. I think I've talked enough tonight, more than enough, so I'm actually just gonna do what I actually want to do and go back to reading. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Goodbye. I spent the rest of the evening reading, and before I knew it, it was 2 a.m., my eyes were burning, and I'd finished the book.
Okay, so it's 2 a.m. and I just finished that book, and I think I might have a little bit of a life crisis after that one. Oh god, guys, this book. Alright, I'm literally delirious, and I must go now. Goodbye.
As I fell asleep, visions of newspaper clippings danced in my head. If you know, you know. Anyways, not 10 minutes later, I started to hear a weird noise. A noise I knew all too well. The last noise any car dweller ever wants to hear. I don't know if you can hear it, but I don't think I'm alone in this car. I'm 90% certain that there is a mouse somewhere up front. I don't know if it's in the engine, in the walls, under the floor, or in the car with me. But I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. It was at this convenient moment that my phone storage got too full, so here's a replay of what went down. After a few minutes, the scratching stopped. I laid my head back down and tried to get some sleep. That didn't work though, because a few minutes later the noise came back. Louder. I'm very, very irrationally scared of mice. The house that I grew up in always had a little Minnie Mouse issue, and I think I might be scarred from that one time that one mouse decided to use my sleeping body as a heating pad. In the van, I've dealt with 3 different mouse encounters, but every time the mice never made it past the walls, never made it into my bed. Thus, the van is a safe space for me, a place where I do not have to worry about waking up to an uninvited bedmate. But the Prius is different. The Prius is littered with the evidence of mice having made it past the walls. This car is no fortress. There are acorns on the dash, under the seats, inside the little pouch on the back of the front seats. All this to say that when I heard the little scratching of the little claws grow louder and louder, undeniably closer and closer, I knew that I was not getting a wink of sleep. I was on mouse watch, and my phone was dead. After the loudest scratching so far, there were a few minutes of silence, dead silence, my eyes burning, straining to stay open, keeping my watch under the light of a nearly full moon. And all of a sudden, I saw a shadow dart across the driver's seat backrest. My fight or flight instinct kicked in, and in the matter of seconds, I was outside in the cold mountain air wearing only an oversized t-shirt. Looking back on that night, I can't 100% tell you if what I saw was real or if I was just so tired I was hallucinating, but it was real enough for my tired, paranoid self to choose to sleep on the picnic table outside that was covered in mist. It was a very wet, very cold, very sleepless night. And that's the mouse story. The end. Hello everybody. It is much later in the day. I've had a long day. I've had a good day, but I've had a long day. Did I just say I've had a good day? I've had a hot day. It's been very, very hot. Yeah, last night I had a weird experience. I've never actually slept in a car where I thought a mouse was in my car. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I ended up sleeping outside. Not the biggest of deals, except for the fact that I was soaking wet, freezing cold, and couldn't sleep because of all those things. I actually promised myself last night that I wouldn't sleep in the Prius again. But now I'm thinking I might give it one last chance because I don't really know why. I feel like giving it another chance, and I really don't want to have to go buy a tent. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay again at the place that I stayed 2 nights ago. Anyways, I'll see you guys there. Pro tip, not really a tip, just something to note about living in a car. It's really hard to change. Really hard to change.
What are you thinking? What kind of gas mileage do you think?
I'm tired. I did not sleep at all last night.
When I was 16 years old, I checked out a book from my school's library, just trying to fill the extra credit AR point quota for one of my English classes. Little did I know that that book that I checked out would light a fire in me and open my eyes to the possibilities of a nomadic lifestyle. The book was called Wanderlove, and although I now see it as corny as hell, my younger self deemed it the best book of all time, and it's weird to look back and realize that that book was the reason I started down the path I'm on today. It was the reason I spent hours scouring Pinterest for travel quotes, YouTube for backpacking advice. It's the reason the YouTube algorithm decided to push me Nate Murphy's 17-day van build, a video that ultimately led to me spending 3 years saving, learning, and prepping for the day that I could buy, convert, and live full-time in my own little home on wheels. I'm glad my path led me here.
Finn's being quite the adventurer today. I feel like I should be nervous. You know, something that they don't tell you when you're getting into van life with dogs is that dogs on the road are like 100 times more expensive than dogs in a house, because dogs on the road are happy dogs, adventurous dogs who like to go sniffing rocks. And when dogs like to sniff in rocks and drink lake water, odds are eventually they will end up in the ER. And honestly, there's not very much that you can do about it, except for hope and pray that when they do end up in the ER, it's not for something horrible, because the only alternative is keeping them cooped up in the van, and honestly, that's just not my style. This little boy has been to the ER like 4 times since being on the road, huh, Finny? Plus, we have health insurance for Finn, which I highly recommend if you are getting on the road with any dog, because again, they're gonna end up in the ER. It's not about if, it's when. This place is gorgeous. I wish I could play music, but all the music that I listen to is copyright music. I could jam out to Epidemic Sound, but that could be fun.
I've been feeling this way for far too long.
This evening, I found myself thinking about that one book I'd found in high school, Wanderlove. I often find myself wondering what my life would be like if I hadn't found that book, or if I'd just simply chosen another book instead. Would I still have grown an interest in backpacking? Would I have eventually found an interest in the van life? Or would I have found a home, a comfort in another realm? There were a few months there when I was so entranced with finance books that I changed my major to accounting, and I really did love the subject until I realized there was more to life than money. But it took me living in a van to realize that. I want to believe that I'd have found a love for travel eventually, even if I hadn't chosen that book that day. But you know what? I really don't know. Without that book, I might not have tied my identity to being a traveler so young, and I probably would have gone to a 4-year university, and who knows where I would have ended up if I'd chosen to do that. There's this quote I found a few weeks ago when I was struggling to make decisions about my life that perfectly sums up everything that I've been dealing with in the last couple of months. And it goes, "Sometimes I can hear my bones straining under the weight of all the lives I'm not living." And I'm not even going to attempt to explain that. Either you'll understand it or you won't. So I thought before this video actually ended, I thought it was only right to show you guys this. I had to make a late night run to Walmart, which is not ideal when you're like 40 minutes away from the Walmart and it's way past your bedtime. I didn't film any of it because honestly, I was very angry. I have to wonder if I didn't bring this mouse from home and I was sleeping in the car with it for the first couple days. I could be wrong, but I'll never know.